Hello YouTube. The Moscow region consists not only of cottages, forests, and lakes. This is a place where reality sometimes becomes shaky and space plays by its own rules. Here, among picturesque landscapes, there are secrets that attract researchers, dreamers, and those who love everything unusual. In addition to beautiful manors, picturesque parks, and interesting museums, there are many places in the Moscow region that will be interesting for people who like to tickle their nerves, so to say. Caves, where a young girl with the face of an old woman wanders about, a mysterious black pillar that leads travelers astray, the ghost of the Queen of Spades, an abandoned chapel in the Paranormal zone. Strange area indeed. Are we speaking about just legends? Well, let's see. Let's start with the Syanov quarries or caves. The address is Domodedovo city district, Syanovo village. So those famous Syan caves are located between the villages of Novlenskaya and Novosyanovo. These underground labyrinths hold many secrets, from ghosts to unique optical effects. The Syan quarries are the largest known ancient system in the Moscow region and the fifth largest in Russia. Limestone was mined here for the construction of the White Stone city of Moscow, Belokamenaya, the White Stone, as we refer to Moscow. After the Russian Revolution, mining stopped, and a little later the quarries were completely closed. But in the 1980s, cave explorers, speleologists, opened one of the entrances, and in 2007, the inhabitants of Syan repaired it, reinforced it, and installed a steel staircase. For many years, thrill seekers have come there to wander through the underground labyrinths or mazes. The entrance to Syan was sealed after a group of children with a guide got lost there in December of 2020. Of course, such places always keep a lot of legends. For example, one of the longest manholes in the quarries, which was called a pike, allegedly restores the memory of the moment of their births or reveals superpowers in people who crawl through it. And in the central shaft, there is a real human skull in a helmet and gas mask and an imitation of human remains. This is the so-called local deity Aristarchus, to whom it is customary to leave various gifts. There is a superstition that if you appease the spirit with some small gift, it will accompany the tourist and protect him from an accident. Another local legend is about the two-faced one. If you get lost in the quarries, you can call her for help. She will appear in the form of a beautiful girl and show the way to the exit. But as soon as you get close to it, she will turn around and her face will be like that of a scary old woman. Before you know it, you'll be deep in caves where no one can find you. Legends and facts about that place. Well, in the 18th century, stone was mined there, and during the Great Patriotic War, as we refer to World War II, the caves were used as a hospital. They say that in the depths there, deep below, you can meet the ghost of the girl Eva, whose faces have hidden by the rock slab. The Milky Way grotto impresses with shimmering sparkles in the ceiling, creating the illusion of a starry sky. An amazing discovery. The research of the MAI Kosmopoisk, that's the Russian and international paranormal research group I often mention in my videos. Well, that research has shown that people's senses become sharper in caves. Their perception of time changes, and sometimes their psychic abilities manifest themselves. Kameginsky Black Pillar. That's another place we'll look at. The address is Pushkin City District. Kamyagina Village. The village of Kamyagina is located near Ivantievka. Old-timers remember the legend of the mysterious black pillar that stands in the wilderness. Supposedly, travelers who came across it on the way witnessed a strange phenomenon. Their watches immediately stopped, and the compass stopped working too. After that, many lost their way and got lost in the forest for several days. No one can name the exact location of the pillar. That's say that every time it appears in a new place. The cursed road between Lyubertsy and Litkarino, that's another place. The address is Lyubertsy City District, Pikhorka Village. If you're prone to superstition, it's better to find ways to bypass the section of the highway between Lyubertsy and Letkarino, near the village of Pikhorka. It is said that there used to be an ancient burial site in this place, and it was like in the 11th century, where the last resting place of a suicide was found. Now drivers keep noticing strange ghost passengers on the side of the road and sometimes right in front of their vehicle's hood. For example, an old woman with a stick and magnetic anomalies were allegedly recorded in these places. Fatal accidents often occur there. Let's go on to the Apraksin estate. The address is Dmitrov City District, Olgovo Village, 50 kilometers from Moscow. Okay, again, in the Dmitrov City District, there is once luxurious but now abandoned Apraksin estate. This place was once popular with the Moscow elite. In the 18th, 19th centuries, there was its own fortress theater, so to say, where all the noble singers, musicians, and actors came to. The socialite named Natalia Golitsina, who came to visit her daughter, Apraksin's wife, also loved to visit the estate. It was she who was the prototype of the princess in Pushkin's novel, The Queen of Spades. The poet heard the story from the grandson of Golitsina. Once in France, Natalia Petrovna Golitsina lost a huge sum of money at cards. She had to turn to her friend, Count Saint-Germain, for help. He was an extraordinary person and repeatedly caused confusion in society by statements that he was present at the events of centuries ago, for example, at the execution of Jesus Christ. Saint-Germain did not lend Golitsina money, but named 3 cards that she would be able to win back. And so it happened. According to legend, Golitsina's ghost still haunts the estate, longing for the old days when feasts and card games were held there. And now the chapel. And that's in the Pavlovsky Posad City District. The anomalous zone, located in the vicinity of the village of Chasovnya, chapel, in the Pavlovsky Posad urban district, still attracts the attention of Russian ufologists. In their opinion, there is a powerful geopathogenic node there. This is an area within which phenomena occur that are hardly explicable with the help of modern scientific theories. Trees in the forest grow at an unnatural angle. In summer, divergent circles form on the grass. Strange sounds and flashes are heard around. And people who find themselves in this place have unreasonable fear and a feeling of intense anxiety. The center of the anomalous zone is an old, dilapidated chapel built around the 17th century. It was originally made of wood, but then the locals rebuilt the stone one. During the years of the Soviet rule, it was abandoned and continues to be in this state to this day. Locals say that the chapel was built on the site of a pagan temple. In ancient times, white stone idols of pagan gods stood at that place. Their remains are still present in the masonry of the building. Again, pathogenic impact from the zone, twisted trees, willow of the wisps, and mysterious flashes. Then the village of Razans. Address Sergeyev Posad City District, village of Razantsov. The village of Razantsov is located in the Sergeyev Posad City District. It has an ancient history. The inhabitants of the Ryazan Principality, which was plundered by Batu Khan Mongol troops, once hid in the local dense forests. Much later, it was to this place that Saint Sergius of Radonezh passed. Tsarina Anastasia, who was making a pilgrimage to the Trinity Sergius Lavra, saw the Holy Trinity there. One day a strange event happened near the village. It was first mentioned in the middle of the last century, and over time this story began to gain new details. Two young people, a guy and a girl, were returning home through the forest at dusk. Suddenly, out of nowhere, they heard voices, laughter, barking dogs, and the clatter of buckets in the dense thicket. The travelers were numb with fear because there were no people or settlements nearby from where these sounds could come. They stood motionless for a while, trying to figure out what was going on, but then decided to run away from this mysterious place. When the guy and the girl returned to the village and told about the incident, the elderly locals were not surprised. They said that other people from the surrounding villages who were wandering through the forest also heard mysterious sounds, and some even saw a man in a raincoat. There is this opinion that the Tatars or gypsies who were traveling in a wagon train died on this road many years ago. They were allegedly attacked by a forest robber, and now it is their voices that are heard in the wilderness. And now we go on to the Shushmor Tract, address at the junction of the Vladimir region and Shatura city district. On the border of the Moscow and Vladimir regions in the Menchersk forests, there is this anomalous zone, a paranormal zone, known throughout Russia. The Shushmor Tract is a mysterious place. It is not marked on any map. The eyewitnesses who managed to visit it tell absolutely incredible things about it. Swampy forests stretch for several kilometers around the tract. Before the revolution, the lively Kolomenskaya highway passed close to it. The strange disappearances of people here in this area began back in the 19th century. In 1885, a member of the Zemstvo local government council disappeared along with a cabman and a cart with horses. The investigation reached a dead end and the case was closed. 2 years later, an entire wagon train disappeared there, and again the police found nothing. Mysterious incidents continued for many years. A postman, a land surveyor, and several peasants disappeared in these parts, about 19 people in total. Already in modern times, researchers have noted strong magnetic fluctuations in these places. In addition, the locals have a legend about a stone sphere overgrown with moss. It holds the key to the disappearance of people. And then we go on to the Kato Station. Address Dmitrovsky District, Nekrasovsky Urban Settlement, Kato Station. The first unusual phenomena began to occur here in the middle of the 20th century. The local forests were called prodigal because many travelers lost their way in them, and neither maps nor compasses helped them. One day a professor got lost in the forest, and then he came to his friend's cottage for a visit and decided to go to the forest for mushrooms. Well, he was found a few days later. He was very scared and talked about meeting humanoid beings. A few years later, a similar situation occurred with a man who was walking in the woods with a dog. and since the late 1960s, locals have noticed strange fireballs in the sky. And then this lake, Smerdyachaya Lake, Shatura City District. This name, Stinky Lake, was given by locals due to the fact that it gave off a strong smell of hydrogen sulfide. But you won't feel it now. The stench disappeared more than 20 years ago. There is a hypothesis that the perfectly round peat lake was formed about 10,000 years ago as a result of a meteorite fall. However, serious scientific research aimed at clarifying the nature of the lake basin has not yet been conducted. And of course, this place got into collection I'm presenting today for a reason. It is also shrouded in mysteries and legends. According to one of them, a chapel once stood on a rampart on the shore, but under strange circumstances it collapsed to the bottom of the lake along with the deacon who was there, hence the name, the death of the deacon. There's also a belief on the shores of this lake a person falls into an altered state of consciousness. Some particularly impressionable people claim to have seen UFOs and mysterious transparent silhouettes in these places. I already mentioned the village of Razans, so let's go on to the next one. And that place would be connected to the mysterious mounds. The address is Pyatidial Station in the Kiev direction. Not far from the Pyatidial Station are the so-called Napoleonic mounds, the burial place of French soldiers who died in battles in 1812. It is said that unexplained phenomena occur near the grave shafts. The hands of the wristwatch start spinning faster, and the time on the mobile phones gets lost. Some people even observed mirage in such places. Then there is the White Gods Tract. Address is Sergeyev Posad City District. Many years ago, the ancient pagan temple of the White Gods was located near the village of Radonesh. This place in the northeast of Moscow region has a bad reputation. Legend has it that in the 12th century, pagans sacrificed there. The altar was a large stone hemisphere, about 6 meters in diameter and 3 meters high. Bela Bog, as the name implies, white god, is the supreme god of goodness. And according to some reports, the idol of Bela Bog was installed on a hill and begged for protection from Chernobog. References to the temple can be found in the travel notes of the Polish archaeologist and ethnographer Khodorkovsky. Actually, Khodorkovsky is the right name. Khodorkovsky was a politician. In Soviet times, this place was explored using aerial photography and saw a layout resembling Stonehenge. Then we go on to the Pakarovka anomalous zone. The address is the village of Pakarovka. There's a whole set of inexplicable oddities in this place. In a forest clearing near the village, locals often noticed UFOs and dust columns in the air. Fishermen saw a large water funnel in a pond, and mushroom pickers admitted to experience bouts of unreasonable fear. Mobile communications are also lost in that place, cars are stalled, and even locals who know the area well can easily get lost in the forest. It is said that there are some forest areas that are being bypassed by animals. And this legend about the ghost of war in the sky. An amazing story unfolds in the vicinity of the Volokholamsk district, taking us back to the era of the Second World War. However, there's an airplane that can be seen by people, but it can be seen, it exists only partially. It's like a ghost hovering between time and space. What's happening? At first, the characteristic hum of an aircraft engine is heard, then the silhouette of the Nazi Messerschmitt aircraft appears in the sky trying to land, but this guest is nothing more than a vision. The Soviet military, who found it on radar, fired and tried to ram it, but to no avail. The ghost plane passed through material objects as if they did not exist. And interesting detail, some eyewitnesses claim to have seen the pale face of the pilot in the cockpit. Who was he? Why does his aircraft keep plowing the sky? There are no answers, but that legend lives on. If you go to my channel, you will find other videos about Moscow and the vicinities. Moscow is a very interesting and quite paranormal space. It's a place of power, and it holds many secrets throughout its history. Things were done to it, but there is more than that. I urge you to see my videos. You will be amazed, I think, because not much is known in the West about the capital of the Russian state. That's what I wanted to let you know today. If you like my videos, if you'd like to support my research, please do so through the links found in the description to this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Make sure they notify you. Thank you.